Think you can survive some fantasy? Stick around, let's find out. Hiya folks, Old Man Grognard here. Got another good review for you. We've got here Survive This Fantasy, both books by Bloat Games. And this was done in 2020. They kickstarted it and it turned out really well. The first book is 195 pages and the second one is 212 pages. We've got a core rules book and a game master's guide here. And this was done by Eric Bloat and Josh Palmer with some really good artists illustrating things in here. And let's take a look at the inside. All right, here we are. Survive This Fantasy. This is the core book, and this is the Game Master's Guide. Let's take a look inside, shall we? Really clear. Pretty much a one-column layout. There's some of the classes, or rather the races. There's some elves, and a lot of stuff in here. And it's actually an easy read. It really is. There's some professions and skills. Like I said, it's nice and clear, and the artwork is absolutely gorgeous. And let's go into the classes, money and equipment, and there's some spells. We also got some psionic abilities back here. And it pretty much gives you anything you need to run the game, except for the dungeon master part, the game master part, I should say. And we have, mostly this is essays on how to run the game and a lot of charts for things like cities and towns and adventures and, characters, things like that. Search the body type thing. Big section on monsters with some great artwork as usual, and a nice big, it ends with a nice big chapter on treasure, all kinds of treasure tables, and you really can't go wrong with this. It gives us some quick descriptions, and these come in at around, I believe, 185 to 200 pages each. So there you go. That's Survive This Fantasy. Back to you, Glenn. Okay. Now, what we have here is the Survive This rule set. And if you know anything about that, I did a review on Vigilante City, which is their supers game. They've done Dark Places and Demigorgons and zombies and things like that. And it's a very, very versatile system based on BX D&D with its own tweaks. There's a few things, like for one, there are, it's Ascending Armor class. There is a 10-level cap on this. And if I can read my notes, you have here 7 stats, originally 7 stats. The usual 6 stats you have in like D&D, plus one called survival. And these are survival points that you can spend during the game to re-roll a roll with restrictions. Now, you also have 6 saves, which are courage, critical, death, magic, mental, and poison. Okay? There are 5 alignments: righteous, law, neutral, anarchist, and evil. And it's got races and classes, 15 races and 19 classes. We have races in here, the usual elf, dwarf, halfling, human type thing. But you also have things like lizard men, wolf men, bear men, there's no halflings, but they have creatures called minotaurs, which are about the size of fairies that you can play. You can play a ghoul, although I wouldn't recommend it because later I'll get into it. But so you have all these wonderful. Oh, you can play a dragon hatchling. How about that? alignment. The classes are something like Cinder Touch, which is kind of fire-based. And what else do you have? You played, there's like a few psionic characters in it. There is psionics, although it isn't too bad. You can play Zealot, Street Rat. Zealot's good for like paladins, things like that. And you can play a pirate. Yeah, you can play a pirate. They have the pirate class here. Let's see what else they got. Beastmasters, barbarians, assassins, a way of the open hand, which is their version of a monk. And each of them scales up to 10 levels, of course. And you get special abilities at each level here. This is a fortune hunter, real Indiana Jones type, or Laura Croft or something like that. You have class bonuses. You do have skills in this game, and there is a skill list. You can get skills, but each class gives you a certain level of set of skills that start and going up. And you can also buy them, or rather, you get points with your experience. And you also have a profession when you start, which I thought was kind of interesting because, you've got to, but that also gives you certain types of skills. Skills become important sometimes. There are difficulty classes in this game. The usual things, hirelings. The magic system is based on rune tattoos. Now, I'm for any kind of like diversity in magic. You use a spell book, you use a tattoo, you use clerical stuff. But the rune tattoos, and I'm not sure if the clerical type, there really isn't a clerical type in here, but you do have clerical spells within the spells. There's 5 levels of spells. And you get the rune tattoo, and you get like so many, it's like spell levels. You get so many levels at the level you are, and the rune tattoos just sort of appear, I guess. But you can get spells outside of that because you have the chance of learning a spell, but you have to roll for it. If you rolled it, and everything is roll under, by the way. D20 roll under, everything. Stat saves, you name it. And it's very dangerous. Let me put it that way. If it's not learned by leveling, you can get temporarily reduced to 0 hit points and sleep for 2 days and other things like that. You get to roll on a chart, you got to make a knowledge check. If you fail the knowledge check, you got to roll on the chart. If you make the knowledge check, you learn it. You learn the spell. But you also have to make a save versus death at disadvantage. And these are all spells if you don't get as you level up, that you want more of, So it's a little dangerous. I'm not going to say this game is really dangerous, but it's got like a twinge of danger in it because you do have fear checks, you have terror checks, and you have to deal with sanity sometimes. And that's the kind of, I can probably deal with that, but I'd rather not. If I want to play sanity, I usually go to Call of Cthulhu or something like that, because that's pretty much baked into the system. So you have that. The psionics are set up as a separate thing, and you have so many psionics. It's just basically another way of doing magic. As far as the mechanic is the same. Let me put it that way. What else do we have? Yeah, D20 roll under. Your armor adds to your AC. Your base, it's base 10 plus your dex mod. So that's your base AC. And the armor also has toughness. Like you say, if you have an armor with toughness of 2, the first 2 points of whatever damage is getting, it takes off automatically. If they hit your armor class. Like I said, it's rune-based. You also have something called Step into the Void, which is kind of dangerous for some things. You do that with magic. You can do that. It's pushing your magic, basically, to make it more powerful. But if you step in the void, you're going to start rolling things like terror checks and sanity checks and things like that. So it gets a little dangerous. Psionics have the same thing called push your will. Okay. There is you can actually do a character funnel with this game if you want to do it that way. And it's a D6 initiative, and you're rolling a D20 plus whatever stat is, strength for melee, dex for ranged, and you have usage dice with things like equipment, where if you roll it and you don't make the roll, it goes down. If it's a 1 or 2, you don't make the roll, and it gets downgraded to another level of from like D20 to D12 to D8, etc., etc. You have advantage and disadvantage in this game. That's how you do that. And also, they have something called, and this is in the other games too, they have something called outsmart and seize the moment actions, part of your actions. And these are kind of things where you can actually turn the tide of battle in your advantage. In other words, you can do something, let's see if I can pull it up here. Now, the way I'll explain that for a minute. Okay, I seem to be getting ahead of myself again. And let's see, outsmart. Here we go. Now, if you're successfully attacked or affected by an ability or spell of a hostile character or creature, character may attempt to outsmart their foe before damage is rolled. Roll a d20 and add your int and wisdom bonuses and outsmart bonus to the roll. Now, there's outsmart and seize the moment. They don't have there's no outsmart stat or skill or seize the moment skill or stat. But what you do, the DM picks whatever would be appropriate as far as skills or stats, and you add that. And you add that to the roll, usually skill. If the outsmart roll is equal or greater than the attack roll, then you roll on this chart below, and it could be anything from half the damage to the attack fails, and the attacker can take damage or something like that. Now, outsmart does not require an action, and a character can use outsmart and use it equal to their int plus wisdom modifiers per day. Now, they also have, if it's successful, the player with the outsmart then switches places in initiative with the attacker if they choose. That would be going forward. Seize the moment is similar. Seize the moment. Some characters can seize the moment in combat by taking advantage of an opponent's mistakes. They can take those mistakes and turn them into an extra action. Character with seize the moment may immediately use a bonus attack against an opponent that does one of the attacks below within your reach. You can only seize the moment once a day for each point you have in it. So seize the moment, once again, is the same D20 plus attribute skill mods plus versus a DC. These are both DCs. So you have cast a spell, or casting a spell, critical fumble, end of round stunned, fall, tripped, etc., etc. Get knocked back. You can do that. So that's seize the moment. Seize the moment and outsmart are very, very interesting to me. And that is all in the core rules book. That's in this rule book right here. And these are nice digest size books. I love digest books. And the Game Master's Guide it starts out with some essays on how to run a game. Then it goes into a lot of tables. Tables for adventure hooks and things to do in a city, person encounter, creature encounter, random event table, what foods are available in the pub. Search the body, what do I find type of thing. Then it goes into a big section on monsters, and there's a lot of monsters in this game. I'll say, look at those beauties. Look at that. Ain't that beautiful? And so you have monsters, complete monster manual in here, and then it goes into treasure types, and it gets a little hard to read at this point. But you have magic item tables, but they do list them in in the tables here, so they don't take up a whole lot of room. And that's pretty much the books. They're put together well, and Bloat Games just does a great job. I can hardly wait to start playing these, because it looks like they play fast. And you get a character sheet in the back for both of them. And these are, like I said, from Bloat Games. So I recommend them highly. So where do you find them? Okay, you can go to the Bloat Games website, bloatgames.squarespace.com. And they sell a PDF and print bundle for both of them for $49. Or you can go to DriveThruRPG, get both PDFs are $9.99 each, and you can get the prints for $29.99 each, and the bundle over there for both PDF and PDF and print is $39.98. Now, I'm not sure if that's both or each one, but check them out. Go, wonderful stuff. So that's my review of Survive This Fantasy. So go check it out. And if you could, like, subscribe, hit the bell down in the thing down there. And until I see you folks next time, bye-bye.